Today on the Chat and Chew Show.
It's good. It's great.
Okay, that's what you better say. But
Wonderful.
I looked over like,
help me.
Love and marriage and career. We love seeing power couples because they seem like the ultimate love stories. Two people who connect on every level, even professionally. It's a dream come true. But how do those couples make it work? Today on the Chat and Chew Show, we are joined by Billboard recognized husband and wife singer-songwriter duo and production team, Danni and Jerome Baylor. Danni and Jerome are based out of Upper Marlboro, Maryland. They have written for and collaborated with Fantasia, Tamela Mann, Jason Nelson, Steve Bryan, Andy Mineo, Nana Mellie, and K-pop artist Youngjae, to name a few. Their artists' last two single releases topped the Billboard charts in two separate genres. The pair is known for their versatility and genre-bending writing styles, and they say it's their love for God and music that brought them together. Although they work as a team, the two are artists in their own right. Jerome got his start as a young church drummer who always had a voice. He later began pursuing artistry full-time, releasing an EP in 2012, and ultimately shifting his focus completely to production and songwriting. Danni got her start in the church as well, as a singer with original music released in 2011. When the two met at a church engagement, the rest was history. They married in 2014 and haven't looked back. The Baylors are advocates for marriage and believe that while keeping Christ as a foundation, it can be the greatest team imaginable.
well, hello everybody, and welcome to the Chat and Chew Show. My name is Betty,
And I'm Roxanne.
and we are super excited that you have decided to join us. As you know, the Chat and Chew Show is designed to empower you to do your relationships better. And if we're honest, all of us need improvement in our relationships because we can run into snags and not know how to navigate through them. So this show is designed to do just that. As most of you guys know, Roxanne and I have been doing this show for over a year now. Yahoo! And you probably already know our story. I am married for over 30 years, and Roxanne is divorced. Yeah, I was gonna say, I was
I have an anniversary for that, or what?
I don't know. And one thing that we have learned through our lives is about relationships and just really how to do them really, really well. One thing that I know to be difficult in relationships is if you are married to someone that you work with them all the time. Like my husband and I, especially in the early years of our marriage, we literally did everything together. We did like music, we worked together. Of course, we live in the same house. And sometimes trying to figure out how to balance all of that can be difficult. So today we have some special guests with us. I'm so excited to talk to them. And they are doing life together as a married couple and also in their business. So today is going to be a fantastic show. If you are thinking about working with a family member or your husband or your wife or a significant other, this show is going to be really, really great. So hang on.
Everybody, and welcome back. As Betty mentioned, we have a great show for you to do today, right? We have a great show for us to do for you today, right? Okay, so we have some special guests with us. We have Jerome and Danni Baylor joining us. Welcome.
Hello.
How are you guys?
We are well.
Very good.
Nice. I'm appreciating the graphic tee. Would that be considered like a graphic tee, Jerome?
Yes, I guess. Yeah, I got it special for the show.
I'm feeling it with the background and stuff. It's coming out nice.
Thank you.
I tried to wear it one time and it just didn't work. Yeah.
Nice, entertaining. You guys are just that close where you can like interchange?
Yeah.
No, she just decides she wants to wear my stuff.
Whatever I want. You just
And I just see her walking by and I'm like, okay, cool.
Oh my God.
That's so funny. This is so random, but I'm on like dating sites or whatever, and this guy had in his description, "I do not have a hoodie for you to borrow." Like,
that is very direct. He knows, like, you know how we are. We always want to borrow something.
Mhm.
So
it's more comfortable for some reason. They are more comfortable. So tell us, how did you all meet?
Do you want to start? I always.
We met at a youth young adult event, and she was ministering, she was singing, and it was an event that the group that I was in at the time we put on. We did it like once a month.
And you would have like artists come.
We have like outside artists come and kind of share and minister, and so she came one night and I was just like, wow, you know, her ministry was amazing, and she was just, I was taken aback. So we met that night, and that was when we met. Yeah,
and I was selling like CDs afterwards, and so he came over to the table and was just like standing there, like, you know.
Every time you tell the story, you make me sound like a stalker.
No, but it was great. It was so good. I loved it because, you know, he was just like, I really like your voice, and then we loved Brandy, so that was like.
So I asked her, I was like, are you a fan of Brandy? Because I could tell the way she was singing out, and so I was like,
he said the magic words. Okay. He's like, oh my God, yes, that's all I've been trying to sound like, you know, like, yes, I love her. So and then we started writing music together, but just as like friends in the beginning, like we were just like, you know, just working every week, and then it went into like, I really like you, like we have a great, you know, industry. Yeah.
Wait, so Danny, he got you with a pickup stare, not a pickup line?
That's good. That's good. A pickup stare, not a pickup line.
I wasn't picking her up, you know. I was just a fan, you know, of what she did, and just because for me, I mean, my style was, I didn't want to jump into anything before I really knew the person. You know, that's how I was brought up, you know. So I was really, that's why she was talking about the stairs so much, because I was really just watching her, you know, just to see how she was off the stage, you know, because, you know, there are a lot of people, and that's a whole nother story, but there are a lot of people who minister, and they, you know, they're totally different from how they are on stage, you know. So sometimes it can be an act. So I was really just looking at her just to see if things kind of lined up with what she was, you know, preaching or ministering, whatever. So I was just watching her. That's why I was such a like, you know. Yeah. So yeah.
Oh, I like that. And I feel like that's like an early tip. Like that's an early tip, y'all, for y'all to take down, to check out that character on and off stage. So, and even in regular life, I feel like that means, you know, if you meet somebody in, you know, in a professional environment, it doesn't even have to be them singing. Like, how do they look at home? How do they look? Them in a grocery store, you know, like check out that character.
So yeah, because I mean, that is a big thing, because, and that's what I tell people that who ask, you know, in terms of dating, I really I don't cross the line, you know, and try to like become romantic until I really get to know a person. I think that's the best thing, you know. And I didn't even share with Danny that I was looking at her that way romantically until I really could investigate a little bit more, you know, that way. Because, you know, if you tell somebody you like them, they start putting on like, you know, they start, you know, buttoning, they start giving you their representative, you know. So I'm like, I didn't want her to have any idea that I was, you know, looking at her that way. Yeah. And so I wanted to get just the rawness of her. Yeah. You know? And so we like I said, we were writing as friends. And I was very professional. He was very professional. You know, so I couldn't even tell, you know, like I always found him attractive, of course. But I just, you know, I was like, oh, you know, we're friends. Like, this is what it is. And then he did not get a representative. Like, I wasn't like dolled up or like, oh, let me put my lipstick. You know, it was just like, this is us, you know, just as platonic as it can be right now. And he got to see the real me without trying to put something on. So
wow.
So I know both of you. So I went to your wedding actually. I was telling Roxanne, the best wedding I have ever been to. And I didn't know you, Danny, at the time. So of course we just knew Jerome. And I was like, first of all, it was just so beautiful. I just remember so romantic. I mean, it's just amazing. And that reception was off the chain. Hey, it was so good. So how long have you guys been married now?
7 years. We just hit 7 years, March 15th.
Wow, 7 years. Did the time go by fast?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you look up and you're like, where'd the time go? I know it's just crazy.
Yep.
So I know both of you are doing music. So would you just tell us a little bit about, where you are right now in your music career? Danny, I know you were selling CDs back when Jerome met you. So just tell us where you guys are now.
Yeah, so right now, we both do artistry. Well, Jerome started off as an artist. When I met him, he was the one pushing artistry more so than I was. But I do my own individual artistry. Jerome does his own individual artistry, and we come together and write for artists as well. And we come together and write for our own stuff. So it's kind of like this separate thing, but it's always intertwined.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. When you say artistry, what do you mean in particular?
So artistry, like writing original songs from like different perspectives. Like for me, I'll play guitar or write a song, posting. I mean, just being a creative. That's what I'll say. Being a creative as a whole. Artistry does have a broad. It can have a broad definition. When it comes to it's not just music for me. Like it's being funny, being goofy, being I have a theater major as well, so I try to incorporate all those things into that part of my individual artistry. So.
Yeah. Now that I know, Danny, you guys who are watching can sing her tail off. And Jerome can sing also, but I think your main thing is drumming. Like Jerome, I have a funny story. I tell this all the time. When Jerome was a kid, we were at the same church, and Jerome used to get on the drums when he was a kid, and I'd be like, "Get off those drums!" He was driving me crazy. But then when he got older, he was so good. Be like, "Jerome, play drums." So good, so good. I will say this too about your acting. I've seen your Instagram clips, girl. You be having me cracking up. It's so funny. So I like that term, then artistry. That kind of encompasses everything. So I'm about to steal that. I think that's good. So you guys have been married for 7 years. You're doing life together, of course, and you're working together. So let's just talk about that. Because everybody is different. You have your different perspectives. And I don't know how you feel about this, Danny, but when you're working with your husband, it's like it's a different layer. Because now you see other stuff, you know what I mean? Like you tell him, you're trying to, if the same person, if one of your clients asks you a question, you would hear it one way, but when your husband asks you a question, you would kind of hear it a different way.
Yeah.
Why you say it like that? Kind of thing. So how is it working together?
It's good. It's great.
Okay, that's what you better say. But
wonderful.
I looked over like,
help me. Yeah, no, it's of course like anything, we as time goes on. Well, actually, I'll say this. The thing that's so great about it is we started out working together as friends, right? So we were working on music together. So that's never that's just always been a part of our relationship. So we didn't start after we got married. You know what I mean? We got married after we were already working together. So we already kind of had that relationship going. But yes, definitely as we as husband and wife, it can get, tricky at times, you know what I mean? But we kind of have boundaries and rules to kind of separate the two, and just being able to be honest, really be honest with each other, you know what I mean? And then just like perfect example, like if it's something for her artistry, like because I know, if you may think like if we're writing or working on something, we may butt heads, right? So if we're butting heads and it's for her thing, her artistry, then she makes the choice. You know what I mean? So that's when I'll back down and say, well, I don't really like that idea, but if this is where you want to go, this is your song, I'm not helping you anymore.
Right.
I'm just kidding. But yeah, it just depends on whose either idea it is.
Yeah.
And we don't butt heads often because we kind of, know how each other works and we compliment each other more so than anything. But if there is a time where we butt heads, we kind of go off of whoever's leading, in terms of if it's my song idea and this is where I want to go with it, then, we'll kind of defer to me as the final, decision maker in that particular situation. So.
Yeah.
How does it look in your house though? Because like I'm thinking of like the one time like Oprah took a tour of Prince's house and he had like a purple room and he had like a white room and he had like a room that looked like the outdoors. Then I'm thinking of like Ike and Tina Turner, the whole movie. It's like, I watch a lot of TV. So how does it look? Like, is like Danni dancing down the hallway while Jerome's like playing the guitar? Like, how does it look in the house?
So we have literally and I'm grateful because the Lord blessed us to be able to have our first home. We purchased our first home last year. And so this house really is something that we've been able to spread out in before kids, of course. But we have a space like downstairs as a space where we like shoot like worship or like songs that we do for church. And it's also like a dance studio, like it's got like a bar, and we actually do have a purple room. That's why when you said that, it's like, wow, like we actually have a purple room, and then I have an office, and then Jerome has the entire basement. That's like the studio.
Which is what we both use for either clients or her stuff or my stuff. And so it's not a public studio, it's a private studio, but it's definitely commercial quality.
Yeah, it's commercial quality.
We had a booth built and everything. So it's really nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Now I know you guys, I would love for you, if you feel comfortable, just tell us, who are you working with these days?
Well, yeah, so right now we're working on Jason Nelson's project. He just released a single on the 5th, March the 5th, and the music video premiered actually yesterday. Last night. So
nice.
That's whose album we're working on now, and we actually have music coming out on I think this year probably on Tamela Mann. And so we've done work with them, and so we're
in the past
with the Dave and Tamela. And then she asked us to work on some songs for her gospel, project that's coming out this year too. So, that's, and then local artists, you know.
So proud of y'all. So proud.
I think Betty, you were telling him to get off those drums.
Yeah, I know. I'm so glad he didn't listen.
She almost crushed my hopes and dreams.
Your career path, everything. Oh man, it's terrible. But so it sounds like what you guys are saying, because you were friends before you were married, it's making this easier to work together.
Absolutely.
Because you kind of already knew how each other like approached, your work and things like that. So wow, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's the best thing. We are like really good friends, you know, and we have. She has such a great sense of humor. Like we kind of we can talk, still today. Like, I mean, 7 years hasn't been that long.
Right,
but,
we're talking like, we've been married 35 years.
Right. But we just enjoy being around each other. That's really the biggest thing.
I can genuinely say that for sure. Like I told him, I said, if there were cameras around here, I said people would be on their backs, like laughing, like at just the things that I'd be like, and I'll be like, what is wrong with us? Like just like sense of humor. I'm like, we are just off, like the way we laugh and stuff. So
we're crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But do y'all have like a word that you or a phrase or something to check each other's ego? Like when you are clashing, is there something you kind of say?
I don't know if there's a word, but I feel like, so the times that, because for me, I'm very passionate. So Jerome is like the very sober minded, like just very centered, like let's think this through. Let's like go. And I'm like, no, it has to happen now. I'm going off. And I think we always come back to a place where it's like, okay, look, I'm for you. Okay. Like, I'm for you. Like, don't forget that. Like, if I'm saying something, we were talking about this yesterday. If I'm saying something or if I'm combating an idea, it's not because I'm trying to hurt you. It's because I want you to do it at your best, or I want this to be its best for you. Yeah. So if we can understand that from the jump, I'm on your team. I'm not trying to hurt you. So I don't think it's it's not a word, but just like a, hey, let's come back to that place where we're on the same team. Like we're in this together. So none of this is coming from a place of malicious intent. Like, I want your best. So centering on that thought, I believe, is what really helps us.
Yeah. Wow. That is huge. I think you're saying a couple things that is huge. One, I think if you could be your person's friend, your spouse's friend, it's going to change everything. Because I think at the end of the day, like when you said, when the dust settles, we're friends.
Yeah.
And I think another thing is huge too. And a lot of couples, this is difficult to get to, that we are on the same team.
Yeah.
You know, because sometimes couples, I could see, especially in doing what you're doing, music, you're doing your own thing, you know, she's doing her own thing. It could be, you know, competitive.
Yeah.
You know, against each other, but you guys are like, wait a minute, we're on the same team, even though we're playing different positions, if you would.
Yeah,
absolutely. We're on the same team, you know.
And people try to pit us against each other too.
Yeah, that's weird.
Well, who's the one who actually does? Who's the one who's the real brains of the operation? Or I want to get Danny to do this, not Jerome. Or I want to get Jerome to do this, not her.
It's
you know,
weird. It's gotten weird before.
But like, it's really based on our relationship and how we deal with those kinds of situations. Right. That because if we let those kinds of things get between us, then that's when the problem starts. But people are gonna think what they want to think, say what they want to say, and you know. So yeah, but my mentality is, like I said, just to piggyback on what she said. If she's winning, I'm winning. That's what I mean. And if I'm winning, she's winning. Like there is no. That's where we cut the egos out. It's like we're together. Yeah. Like if you're successful in something, then that means I'm successful as well. You know. Because we support one another,
absolutely. You know. Elwood and I early on had a few situations like that too, where they're like, well, we don't really want Elwood, we want Betty. And I had to make a decision because it was affecting our pocketbooks. Hey, we don't say pocketbooks anymore, but to say, wait a minute, am I going to stay here or am I going to join my husband? Of course, I decided to stay with my husband, and it just made all the difference in the world because he saw that I was loyal to him, even though I had an opportunity to kind of move ahead, if you would.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And because those people are not in my life anymore, I don't even know where they are. But I would be with Elwood for the rest of my life. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah. So making those kind of decisions again, it's not easy, but if you want to have a healthy, successful relationship, you have to make that hard decision too in doing that. So we're going to take a short break. And then when we come back, we'd like for you guys to give us some tips on if someone's trying to work with their loved one, spouse, family member, what kinds of things should they be thinking about?
Okay.
All right.
Now, a delicious word. Let's chew.
Hey everybody, it's your girl Roxanne, and today we're making roasted vegetables. Now these are inspired by your very own host, Betty. She's been telling me lately how easy it is to put some olive oil and salt and pepper on her vegetables and put them in the oven. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a try myself. I am going to use zucchini, yellow squash, some red bell pepper, red onion, and portobello mushrooms. And so before I do anything, I'm actually going to preheat my oven to 425 so they can be heating up while I'm cutting up my vegetables. And I bought my portobello mushrooms pre-cut, so they're already cut into thin slices. And so I'm just going to cut the rest of the vegetables myself. And the only thing I have to worry about when cutting the vegetables is making sure my slices are even between my yellow squash and my zucchini. Only because the thinner the slice, the faster they'll cook. And the thicker the slice, the longer it takes to cook. And so I just don't want half of my batch to cook much faster than the other half when I'm timing out how long they're going to be in the oven. So once I have my vegetables cooked, I'm sorry, once I have my vegetables cut, I'm going to now line them on my pan, and I'm using a nonstick baking sheet, and I sprayed a little olive oil in the bottom just because, and I'm going to lay out my zucchini and yellow squash on the baking sheet. I gave them all their own place because what happens is they brown on the side that is on the pan. And so I wanted to just let them all have their own space to be able to evenly cook that way. And then the other vegetables, the onion, the pepper, and the portobello mushrooms, I kind of put those in between and on top, especially for the onions. They're so thin they could be on top and still brown in the oven. So once I had everything lined up on the pan, I went ahead and sprinkled on some seasoning. I have a pre-mixed seasoning that I like to get. It's Himalayan salt, black pepper, and garlic. And you can definitely feel free to season everything yourself with your own, with different seasonings with your own. And I would recommend garlic just because that came out really well with these vegetables in particular. But once you have them seasoned, I just sprinkled that on top, just making sure I evenly get it all over that bed of vegetables. Then I went ahead and put them in the oven. And so I let my vegetables cook for about 30 minutes, and I turned them I flipped them basically every 10 minutes, just using a spatula. And I just did that. So again, they're browning on each side and kind of evenly cooking. Once they're brown to your liking, some people like them a little more charred, and some people like them still, kind of soft. But once they're brown to your liking, then you can take it on out the oven. And honestly, they're ready to serve. And I was serving them while they're hot. It's so, so good. You get the water from the zucchini and squash, and also just the flavor from the red bell pepper, and the onions are sweet. And so just all those mixtures together just make for a great, you get that smell of garlic. And I can't say how good this was. I found myself feeling like I was going to just pig out on vegetables, if that's even a thing. So give it a try. Let me know what you think. And until next time.
Go.
All right, everybody, welcome back. If you have been tuning in, we have been getting some serious nuggets here in the first half. Like, you guys have been getting like a 2-for-1, buy one get one free, all the above. Like, y'all been getting all the specials in this episode. So we still have more tips for you. So Jerome and Danny are going to share with us just some tips, some things that you should think about if you are working with your spouse or a loved one, and just how to make that work. So what do you guys have for us?
So the first thing is, do you work well together? That's honestly, because we knew we worked well together before we, got married, right, and, all of that. So we already worked well together, so it's okay if you don't work with your spouse. Like, if it's better and it's better for the relationship for you not to work together, then don't work together. You know what I mean? But if you're going to decide to work together, you have to establish roles. Mm-hmm. People should be working in their sweet spot. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's one thing I could think of.
Mm-hmm. So another thing would be to strengthen your skills, I would say individually, so that teamwork doesn't become like a crutch, if that makes sense.
That's good.
Because it's always like, okay, well, for me, I had to notice that. I'm like, okay, Jerome is strong here and I'm strong here. So it kind of made me feel like, all right, well, I don't have to get stronger here because Jerome is there. And then I became dependent, but it was always good to depend on him.
Yeah, definitely.
But I wanted to step my game up in what I was able to bring. So I kept sharpening myself and my skill set and what I was weak at. And he did the same. Yeah. So I would say that.
Yeah, I agree, because growth is important. It's a team and you're both bringing something to the table. Yeah. So you both should still be growing individually.
Absolutely. And also just have realistic goals as a team, as a couple. As you move forward, like, have realistic goals and steps and how you can get that stuff done. You can implement. And also in strengths and weaknesses, you can see who is the implementer, who usually is somebody who's a visionary, and there's an implementer. So know those strengths and then come together with those and make the things happen. Like take the steps, take the plan.
To piggyback on that, like you can set goals and you're a team, so you both have different ways of getting to that same goal. You're both trying to go the same way, but you both have different methods. You have to align your methods or your method. You have to come together and say, okay, well, this is how we best can approach this. And if something's not working, then we adjust. But if that's gonna stop you at every turn, if you're doing it this way and I'm doing it that way, that's in marriage too. That's not just in working together, but that's a big thing.
Give us an example of what you mean. Like a time when you had to even to do this.
So
is it gonna be? I'm like, what are you about to say?
I guess where we have to align methods.
That's the example.
That's the example. Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. So
go to your songwriting. I know both of you probably approach it differently. That'd be easy.
Yeah. So for example, like if we're working on a song, I am very meticulous about how I'm very
that's a good word.
I'm very meticulous in how I write a song. So I'm slower in terms of because I want everything to line up and be, it's just like a perfect math in my mind, For her, she's like lightning, So what I realized is I have to, a lot of times she's the lightning rod, and I'm the one who kind of helps filter it all, because she'll come up with it's just like wildfire. Like she'll come up with, rapid fire. She'll come up with all these different ideas. And I'm like, okay, let's use this, let's use that. Let's put all of this together that way, in terms of making it translate,
And in that, some of my ideas will fall by the wayside, which can create remember that time, I'm sorry, I have to say it, that time we were writing a song and he literally saved my life, because we listened to the song that I did not put out, because he was like, do not put this out. I don't like it. I mean, I love what the idea was, but this is not and I was so passionate about it. I'm like, no, it's innovative. It's fresh. Nothing is out here like this. I am so he was like, babe, but I said, well, if Taylor, I don't like this. If Taylor Swift or one of these writers that we admire, if she would have wrote the same thing, you would have been like, oh my goodness, this is everything. I remember having that specific conversation. He was
Taylor Swift wouldn't.
She would never. That writer would have the sense to know that this is terrible. So then we listened to it what was it, a couple weeks ago, and I just put my head down in my hand, babe, thank you so much. I don't know what I was thinking. So to go back to the subject, in that, in him being the person that's meticulous and me being all this spitfire, a lot of my ideas could fall to the wayside, which could make me be upset. But at the end of the day, looking at what the best goal is, I feel like that was a great merge of the two personalities or the two ways of working has come together to be one method.
And I hope that answers your question, but it's basically, because our difference in personality, but that's what plays to our strengths as well. So we have to figure out, we have to know how to not let that get in the way.
And knowing those things about each other, that aids us more as we work.
Yeah. And as a creative, you're like, all my ideas are good.
Right. Absolutely. And I'm not like that though. So I'm not married to an idea. I'm never. So that's what's good. She typically is.
I'm almost always married to every idea.
So that we compliment, because but why I'm not married to an idea, and I'm always trying to save her from this or keep her from this. But when I first started, working on music, and I presented it to some bigwigs, they tore me to shreds.
Oh, okay.
But the thing is, everyone I told or everyone I played this music for, was like, oh my God, this is amazing, right? Everyone in my circle, right?
Okay.
But I think, and that's one thing. This is another subject, but it's like knowing that whoever you're playing something, knowing whether whoever you're playing something or your idea for is actually knowing that it's good or thinking that it's good, or they're just surprised that you can do it. That someone, like, you see what I'm saying? It's like, oh, Jerome, you was just playing drums and you did this song. Wow. Yeah. But it's not you're not comparing me to other songwriters. Yeah. You're just giving me claps and giving me a pat on the back because I was able to do this and I wasn't originally able to do it. You see what I'm saying? You're impressed. So I feel like everybody, I had a bunch of yes men because, they were genuinely, happy for what I was doing. But when I actually had to level up and get in front of people who actually have plaques and who actually have been successful in this, they tore me to shreds. So that caused me to not be so married to the ideas that I have and to kind of critique, not while I'm creating, but to kind of go through my stuff with a fine-tooth comb.
Yeah, so when we're creating, we don't really critique as much, but when we're in critique mode, it's like nothing's safe. Yeah. It's like we're gonna critique.
Nice. So that's good because, again, as a creative, you love your ideas, but not everything is going to work. And I think in working with a family member, your spouse or whatever, when you bring stuff to the table, just know, hey, it might not make it.
Yeah.
It might not make it, and not to feel some kind of way, like, well, you don't like me, and
right. You don't believe in me.
Right.
Yeah. What about you? Go ahead, Rocky.
Oh, I was going to say, you really have to evaluate your network. Like, I really like that point because a lot of us do take our thing and to the people that will say, yeah, it sounds good. Oh, yeah, that's great. Oh, I can't believe you did that. And it's not even like music, just in general.
Yeah.
We surround ourselves with people who just tell us, that's great. You're doing so well. Mm-hmm. And we stay there because it's safe. And we don't really excel because of that. We just kind of keep going in circles in the same circle.
Mm-hmm.
So you do have to evaluate your networks. That was a great point. But go ahead, Betty. What were you about to say?
I like another thing that you said too, when along the same lines, leveling up. So now I want to go to a different level and I got to be ready for the risk of being shredded,
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God.
Didn't it make you better?
Yes, absolutely. It made me so much better. And that's what I realized about, a lot of people who are successful, they seek out failure. You're never going to grow if you're not willing to fail, but we don't want to look foolish in front of whoever it is, and so we never grow,
That's good.
Wow, that's good.
I love it. She was watching the show, like, this is good.
Yeah, like, ooh.
I know. It's like, what?
Well, I have to say, I love. This is like random, but I love you guys' humility because I feel like all throughout the show, you guys have just been dropping so many nuggets and just effortlessly. And I don't even think you think you're dropping nuggets. Like, how someone feels like I'm about to tell y'all something. Say, and they get real deep and everything. And it's like, I don't get that from you guys at all. You're just like really speaking through your experience and sharing with us the lessons learned. And I really appreciate that.
Wow.
Because I don't know, there was so much that I wanted to unpack. Just starting with, should you even work with your friend, mate, or family member? Should you even? Like, that's a huge question. You don't have to. That's big. That's major. And then also what I like is just your idea too, of improving yourself while working in that relationship. Because I feel like now everyone feels like, or not everyone feels like, but there's a lot of messaging that's like, oh, I can't be with them because I got to get mine. I have to level up. And it seems like you have to be separate to level up or separate to succeed. Yeah. And it's like, I love this because it's like such a blueprint of how to succeed together and why that's important. Can you just give a little more about why it's important to succeed together?
That's good.
Well, first off, because I just believe, what God ordained, it's our responsibility to what's the word I'm looking for? To be great stewards of it, and also great stewards of our gift within the gift of marriage. Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's just amazing to see like where you start and where you are. Not that there's ever, you'll never see the finished work or never be like, oh, it's everything is perfect now. But just to see like even the growth in each other, and the growth that you push in the other person, it's just, it's amazing. And I feel like it brings you closer as well. And seeing like, wow, we were really even listening to music that we did, like our first song we did, we'll listen to it like, wow, man, like we really, we really thought we were killing it. And, but we were passionate about it and we both never stopped and we never let each other stop. So it's just amazing, to see that, that growth in each other together.
Yeah.
Did you want to say?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to add, like, collaboration is always going to be better than, just you, anything that you can do by yourself. You know what I mean? Now, the right collaboration is what's important, but just the fact that, a lot of the successes, even, I mean, because we're songwriters, I always go to it from a song standpoint, but if you see a lot of the biggest hit songs, they're like 7 to 10 people on the song list of writers. Mm-hmm. So there are people who know that, and they deliberately collaborate with people because it's like, that's how you get something that's more universal, in terms of reaching different people. You need different perspectives. Yeah. And only a fool will use himself as a counselor. You know what I mean? So you need to have someone who can...
Only a fool will use himself as a counselor? I'm gonna write that one down. That was too good to pass up. Only a fool counsels himself.
Yeah. So I mean, if I'm the one creating, then I need someone to tell me if that creation is good, or to kind of help me critique it, because I'm too close to it at times to know whether it's good. If it's as good as it really can be. You know what I mean? So so that's what I've learned.
Wow. Okay. We got to take like a pause and like take this in.
Yeah, because we're all like, mm-hmm.
I think I think because we're all creatives on this on today's show, it's like, okay, your stuff is good, but let somebody else tell you whether or not it's good too.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you get the, I don't know, like, I don't even know what to call it, to take the criticism, the guts,
I would say guts.
Okay. How do you
Yeah, I would say if you really want to be successful, then you will. You have to let go. You have to humble yourself, and get to the place where you want that thing or that art, whatever it is, that art form, you want it to grow and be the best it can be. Then you have to, like I said, you have to seek out failure. You have to figure out, okay, what can I do to make this better? You can't stay in a place where you're like, this is good. I feel like this is good. And I don't understand why people don't like this. No, you have to understand why people don't like it. If it's for people, you see what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of people who create things, and it's like they get mad when someone doesn't like it, but it's like, you're not creating something that people like. You made that for you, and you just want us to like it because you did it, because you worked hard on it. It's like, no, like this is a product that has to be usable by others. You know what I mean? Or at least, it has to serve a purpose. It has to serve
others. As artists, we are servants. We are servants to those who are listening. We're here to serve them. That's how I look at it.
Yeah. So I'm hearing like, you have to know why you're doing this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I love that you have to know why people don't like it if you're doing it for people.
Yeah.
That's like,
at least consider them, just, okay,
as a passing thought, maybe, like. That's good.
Something else too, like usable product. If you're creating a usable product, again, being open for criticism is huge with that, because again, you want to grow. If you look at like the biggest brands out there, they test their product before they even take it to market.
Yes.
Get it in front of a group of people, and what do you like? What's working? What isn't?
Absolutely.
A lot of times as individual creators, we don't do that. We're just like, I painted this, Love it, everyone.
Right.
Yeah.
And we block everybody who critiques it, you know.
Block.
Yeah, all of a sudden we have all these haters. It's like, well, all of them are haters. Some of them are trying to help stir you in the right direction, you know? Like,
that's so good. That's so good.
They hating on me. Everybody's hating on me.
That's the devil trying to stop he's trying to stop my purpose. Yeah, it's like, we gotta go back and
Right.
Like, and then we read all the Instagram memes that support us. Like
Exactly.
Double tap real hard.
Yeah. Like 100%. I was just saying it the other day. Hating on my song. But yeah.
But I thought about this too. So you want to consider how successful the person is that you're taking advice from too. You don't want to take advice from everybody, you know, or you don't want to take suggestions from everybody, because it's like, if you're trying to get counsel, if you're getting counsel from somebody or suggestions from somebody who's like trying to help you financially, are they financially successful? You know what I mean? So that's a big thing, because everyone does have an opinion. So you have to be leery of that, because sometimes people don't know what they're talking about. They just want to talk because, you know, they always have something to say, but you want to be, you know, careful with who you have, like we talked about in the circle, having the right circle of people that won't just tell you something's good, but not people who will say something's bad either, you know, just to say it's bad, but somebody who's actually a good counselor and has been successful in their field, you know?
Good. Wow. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to this one. This is like so many good nuggets. So we've been talking to Jerome and Danni about working together and being creatives and all of that good stuff. So one final word would you give to our audience who are thinking about working with someone that they care about, loves their spouse or husband, and that? Final advice. You guys said a whole bunch of good stuff.
Yeah, so I know.
I'm just trying to squeeze one little last thing out.
Right.
The final. For me, I would say, so for people trying to work with friends or in this, my words, where are they going? Like for us being married, like working in a marriage, like God has to be a huge part of that. That's something that that's what I believe, like keeping God as the center, as the bedrock. That's where the humility comes in. That's where the humility to apologize comes in. That's where the humility to serve comes in. Just always honoring God and how you are treating your spouse. That's what I would say. And just not even in a working relationship, period. But of course, that working relationship is included in that. Just accountability to God and keeping him, you know, as the bedrock of, you know, the foundation of.
To add to that, like, I will forsake everything for our marriage, you know, like that's more important than any client or song or whatever. So if we need to say we're not gonna do music together right now, we're just gonna focus on being married, then we're gonna do that, you know, and you know, we won't work together right now, and let's just focus on that aspect, because if it starts to blur and it starts to get weird, you know, and it's affecting our relationship, then we have to make that decision. So that's what I would say, like, don't force it, you know. It definitely has to be something, you know, that can work and be functional, you know what I mean, before you get, so you can accomplish things. You don't spend most of the time arguing or butting heads, you know. But there you do have to kind of, you will butt heads, you know, but you know, you have to try to work through those things and figure out how to complement each other in those areas. So
I think out of all of this, one of the big things I've taken away is that you don't have to work with your spouse.
You don't
try to. Because I think, you know, sometimes you get married, you're like, some people think we're supposed to do every single thing together.
No,
you don't have to. You don't, you know, that kind of.
Oh, one more thing, and make sure that you're encouraging your spouse as well, and in your working relationship. If you are working together and it is a good work and a good fit or a good match, Make sure you're encouraging and using your words wisely.
Okay.
Watching how you're saying certain things, even in criticism, watching how you're saying things and trying to come from a place of love always.
Okay.
That's what
I'm receiving that for myself. Because we got to go do something here in a little bit. And I'm like, okay, I will watch my words.
Today.
We all got to do it. We all got to do it.
And not just like, do this, do that. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Good. But Roxanne, did you have another question? I know both of us are like.
This was so good. This was just so good. I have like no further questions, Your Honor.
Good. Well, you guys tell our audience where they can find you on social media.
Well, you can find me on Instagram at always Danny Music, and
you can find me on Instagram at J_.
J_Baylor. Baylor. He changes his
_Baylor Music.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is.
J_Baylor Music. I'm sorry. I almost never have to say that. But
right.
Yep.
And where can they find your music?
So we're on all digital platforms.
Spotify, Apple Music.
all the platforms. We're there. I go as Danny Baylor.
Okay.
I go as J Baylor.
Okay. Does anybody buy CDs anymore?
I have a whole box of them, you know? But everyone's kind of digital now.
Everything, you know? I feel like everything is digital. Every now and then you'll see someone who gets like a vinyl for, they make a vinyl. I think that's really cool, but yeah.
CDs are kind of out. They don't even really put them in the car, in the newer cars anymore.
That's true.
Wow. Cool. And Roxy, you want to tell our folks where they can find us?
Yeah, so you can find us on Instagram or Facebook at Chat and Chew Show. And if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe and like wherever that is. And also click on the bell to get notified when we have new episodes, and tell your friends and comment and etc. Thank you so much for joining us. Bye.
This episode is brought to you by the Chat and Chew Company. Host Betty Jones, co-host Roxanne Brew, producer Vanessa Outland, and music by Elwood Jones.